God, I remember this.
Ugh, I haven't looked at that in forever. Here, check it out, Katie.
It's our burn book. So we cut out girls' pictures from the yearbook, and then we wrote comments. Trang Pak is a grosky little biatch.
Still true.
Don Schweitzer is a fat virgin.
Still half true.
Amber D'Alessio, she made out with a hot dog. Janice Ian Dyke. Who is that? I think that's that kid Damien.
Yeah, he's almost too gay to function.
That's funny. Put that in there.
Oh no. Maybe that was only okay when Janice said it.
Really complimented you. That is so fetch.
Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
Why should Caesar get to stomp around like a giant while the rest of us try not to get smushed under his big feet? What's so great about Caesar? Brutus is just as cute as Caesar. Okay, Brutus is just as smart as Caesar. People totally like Brutus just as much as they like Caesar. And when did it become okay for one person to be the boss of everybody, huh? Because that's not what Rome was about. We should totally just stab Caesar!
Gretchen Wiener's had cracked.
If you even knew how mean she really is, you know that I'm not allowed to wear hoop earrings, right? Yeah, 2 years ago she told me that hoop earrings were her thing, and that I wasn't allowed to wear them anymore. And then for Hanukkah, my parents got me this pair of really expensive white gold hoops, and I had to pretend like I didn't even like them, and it was so sad.
Background on bullying. Over 3.2 million students are victims of bullying each year. About 160,000 teens skip school every day because of bullying. 17% of American students report being bullied 2 to 3 times a month or more. By age 14, less than 30% of boys and 40% of girls will talk to their peers about bullying. 1 in 4 teachers see nothing wrong with bullying and will only intervene 4% of the time. Over 67% of students believe that schools respond poorly to bullying, with a high percentage of students believing that adult help is infrequent and ineffective. 71% of students report incidents of bullying as a problem at their school. 90% of 4th through 8th graders report being victims of bullying. 1 in 10 students drop out of school because of repeated bullying. As boys age, they are less and less likely to feel sympathy for victims of bullying. In fact, they are more likely to add to the problem than solve it. Physical bullying increases in elementary school, peaks in middle school, and declines in high school. Verbal abuse, on the other hand, remains constant.
I want you to raise your hand if you have ever had a girl say something bad about you behind your back. Open your eyes. Now, close your eyes again. And this time, I want you to raise your hand if you have ever said anything about a friend behind her back. Open them. There's been some girl-on-girl crime here.
Have you ever been bullied?
Yes, I have.
Do you want to talk about that, or?
It happened with one of my childhood friends. She never like hit me or like pushed me or like said like, I mean, she said mean things to me, but it it was a lot more psychological than anything, because she would do a lot of like trying to make me feel like everything going on in her life was like my fault. She gave me a lot of dirty looks and stuff like that.
Have you ever been bullied?
Yes, I was bullied in first grade. I was the new kid, and I moved kind of still towards the beginning of the year, but I didn't have very many friends, and a bunch of the kids thought it was funny to call me a mutant because I have 2 different colored eyes. So that got yelled at me a lot. And eventually, it didn't bother me after that, but it was hard then. And then my senior year, I was bullied. I was the drum major of the marching band, and there were a bunch of people who thought that I didn't deserve it because they thought that I wasn't a good enough musician to have a leadership position. And so there was a lot of emotional bullying in that sense of being told, you're not good enough, you're making the band worse, you don't deserve this. So that was very difficult. Did you ever feel like you had an adult you could go to if you were being bullied?
Yes, I did, and the best example was my youth minister.
When you were younger, did you feel like you had an adult you could go to if you were being bullied?
Absolutely. My mom and my older sister were always there, and then my cheer coach knew that it was going on, and she would always ask me how I was, or if I could do or she could do anything for me. And so I knew that she was always there if I needed her.
Do you know anyone who has been bullied?
I know the same girl that had been bullying me was bullying my sister for a little while, and then after we went to the counselor's office and talked about it, it was because she was going through a lot at home, and that's all she knew how to react was by picking on us.
Do you know anyone who has been bullied?
Yes, I do. One of my friends in high school, a different girl was jealous of her, and so she would spread a lot of rumors about her that weren't true.
How do you think bullying affects things like your schoolwork and self-esteem?
There were a few times during school that I missed a lot of class because an incident would happen and then I wouldn't want to go to the next class. And then self-esteem, of course, was never there when people were telling you how terrible you are. So, yeah.
How does bullying affect things like your schoolwork and self-esteem?
Because it happened at school, and cheer was a school thing, a lot of time had to be away from school, trying to figure things out, and a lot in my coach's office, trying to figure out how to get things done, and so school was missed, but not, it didn't really affect my schoolwork as much.
Have you ever seen violence occur in your school?
There was a lot of fights that broke out my sophomore and junior year in high school. And some of them were between girls and some of them were between guys. So it was all around different cliques too.
Fights used to break out in my high school all the time. You'd see pulling of hair, teachers having to hold students back. It was not a fun sight to witness.
Can I just say that we don't have a clique problem at this school, and some of us shouldn't have to take this workshop because some of us are just victims in the situation? That's probably true. How many of you have ever felt personally victimized by Regina George? Good.
Teachers, victim versus bully. In some cases, the teacher can be bullied by students.
Teachers can be bullied by parents and even by other faculty members such as coaches.
Oftentimes, this is manipulative or emotional bullying so the student can get their way.
Rumors can be spread by students, parents, or other faculty about teachers. Teachers can be the bully. Examples of this can be calling out the students, disregarding the students' needs, and talking down to students.
Teachers can also be violent bullies.
Teacher roles. It is the teacher's responsibility to set a standard for the classroom. It is important to have a no-tolerance role for bullying and violence.
It is also important for teachers to build positive relationships with students so they know they have an adult to turn to if they are victims.
Teachers should put an immediate stop to all forms of bullying. Teachers should never initiate any form of bullying.
Teachers should be aware of students, themselves, and other teachers.
I had gone from homeschool jungle freak to shiny plastic to most hated person in the world to actual human being.
Hey,
All the drama from last year just wasn't important anymore. School used to be like a shark tank, but now I could just float.
Sheena.
Finally, girl world was at peace.
Hey, check it out. Junior Plastics.
And if any freshmen tried to disturb that peace, well, let's just say we knew how to take care of it. Just kidding.